It is Saturday at 12 p.m. and you know what that means. It is time for the most strangest podcast on the internet. You are watching Mega Strange.
Hello.
This is the podcast. Hello.
We had a guest on today, and he was so fucking manly and jacked. I'm trying to get in that mind, the mind space.
I just wanted to say to everybody, well, I was going to do like a little intro for the show.
Okay.
Before we get to our very special guest. This is the Mega Strange podcast. It's a podcast about all things strange, bizarre, paranormal, and beyond. We talk about cryptids, we talk about ghosts, we talk about UFOs, conspiracy theories, strange things and events that happen in history, and also just generally weird and off-kilter and bizarre things happening in our day-to-day lives, which is what we are talking about today.
Yeah.
We are revisiting one of our favorite subjects, professional wrestling. Possibly the most bizarre sport in the world. Did you know that professional wrestling was the first sport televised in America?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
Predates baseball. So perhaps professional wrestling is America's pastime.
I really think so. It started in like the carnivals with catch wrestling and all that stuff. I think it's just been around for forever. And I think it's like Americans have come together to enjoy wrestling for a very long time.
But today we have a very special treat because we have a wrestler who is a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
The Japanese promotion. We're talking to young lion Alex Coughlin. Alex was awesome.
He was amazing.
And not only is he the most jacked guy we've ever talked to, I think he could deadlift 600 pounds.
Holy shit.
Is the official record. But he's also, and you're not going to believe this, a massive Mega 64 fan.
The most jacked Mega 64
He might
fan.
be the, well, yeah, we're going to have to hold a competition.
I think we need to.
World's strongest style. Who is the most jacked Mega 64 fan? But
we do a deadlift contest at game days.
this guy might be the final boss. We talked to Alex about wrestling, his wrestling career, how he got into it, but also his Mega 64 fandom.
Yeah.
What skits he likes. Who's his favorite member of Mega 64? Spoiler alert. Pretty sure it's Sean.
Yeah.
We talk about his favorite video game series, Mortal Kombat. We talk about how he used to play music in a ska band before becoming a professional wrestler.
This is my new favorite thing that we do every interview. We go to ska. Like we somehow get to ska.
Yes. And then we talk about his incredible career and the rise that he has been on for the past few years, rising through the ranks. He just had a feature article about him in Pro Wrestling Illustrated come out last month. And he was just a really cool guy to talk to.
Yeah.
He comes from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, from Long Island.
Long Island, New York. You guys get to bond over that.
He said coffee. That made me feel at home.
He did. And he describes the rigorous training that you have to go through to be a young lion at the LA Dojo. It was a fascinating conversation. And I think even if you only have a passing knowledge of professional wrestling, or maybe you're not even a fan, you're still going to think that this is an interesting interview because this is just an interesting story.
Yeah. We definitely like go through, like, it's not just about wrestling. We talk about a ton of stuff. And I think most non-wrestling fans would get a kick out of this interview.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy it. It's about an hour-long interview,
Yeah.
so I think we should just get to it.
Sure.
So,
Do you want to chop me?
do you want me to chop
Yeah,
you?
let's do it.
Let them watch the interview.
Okay.
and Alex will describe chop school and what a chop is, and then when they're watching that part of the interview, they're going to think, "Wait, Derek's going to do this to Johnny at the end of this show?" Come back and see how it goes down.
Yeah.
This is our interview with Alex Coughlin. Yo, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are here with the young lion from LA Dojo and New Japan Pro Wrestling, Alex Coughlin. Alex, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Another beautiful morning down here in Los Angeles. I got my coffee, got my vitamin C, and I'm ready to rock. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're hanging out. We've just been chatting for a few minutes now and catching up. You're currently in Los Angeles by way of New York, training at the LA Dojo. Yeah, and we were just talking about how we recently saw you at the New Japan Resurgence show at the LA Coliseum just a few weeks ago.
Right. Just a couple weeks out. Me and Carl went to war, and yeah, bet you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was like our first show back, or like first show that we saw post like the pandemic and stuff, and you guys were amazing.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, that was our first show back with people too. We've obviously been doing the shows with no crowd, tapings, and it's better than nothing. But man, it's not the same without the people there. It was just incredible to have everybody back, and then just you feed off the energy of the crowd. A whole different story. And man, I am just so happy that we're finally back doing it in front of people. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, we're excited to be back going to live shows as well. Do you guys have any more shows coming up in America soon?
We have, yeah, absolutely. We have a handful of shows planned. Our next stop is going to be in Dallas. We're going to be in Dallas, Texas, September 25th and 26th at let me make sure I get all the information right, at the Curtis Colwell Center. I will be on both of those shows, as will all my LA Dojo brothers, and maybe a couple surprises. So if you're in the area and you want to come on down, a couple of your buddies might be showing up too. That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah.
If you're down for some wrestling.
I think our friend Eric is going to be at that show.
That's right. Yeah, let's talk to him a little bit. And
he was with us at LA. He's out there in Texas now. So, Alex, we wanted to talk to you kind of about your wrestling career and how things have been going for you, and also how you got into it. But first and foremost, you're a Mega 64 fan, apparently.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
We were at the show tweeting about it, and then you tweeted back at us, and we were just so surprised that anybody in that wrestling promotion would know who we were. How are you even familiar with Mega 64?
Because you guys are fucking Mega 64. That's how I know you. Yeah, back in high school, back in the Dizzy, my friends watched all your guys' stuff. It's the classics. I love all the Comic-Con videos going around. I love the original Skyward Sword video. Or basically, anytime Sean dresses up as a character and does goofy shit in front of people, or Rocco, we'd always lose our minds at. But you guys have been, you've been rocking and rolling consistently for, how long's it been? It's been over a decade for you guys.
Gosh,
nonstop.
Well, yeah, we've been going since 2003.
Okay, almost 2 decades. Excuse me.
Yeah, we're going on 20 years of this nonsense.
Incredible. Do you mind if I ask a couple questions back?
Please, yeah, by all means.
A little tat. Yeah, I mean, how did you guys start? How did you come up with the idea? I know it's the most boring question you can ask in an interview. How do you get your ideas? But how did you guys come up with that? How did you sit down as a group of what I assume is just your buddies from growing up or locally? Like, man, just make some funny ass video game content and just put it out there and see what happens. Is that basically what happened?
Yeah, we were all in theater, and it was kind of like bringing together everything we love, like acting, video games, and not sketch comedy. Honestly, we were big fans of Jackass and Tom Green and all of these shows where you were just kind of going out into public and messing with unsuspecting people out there, which I guess in 2003 was a novel idea. You can't really do that now.
Gimmick, yeah.
You can't really get away with that in 2021, post-pandemic.
Yeah, there was people at the time. I feel like people didn't really have cameras, and it was really inspiring and new to have people just make content with video games. I know that's not people do that in droves now, but at the time it was really cool.
What we were
at the time, back then in the early 2000s, who was it? It was just you and the angry video game nerd, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know. I mean, I wasn't even aware of the angry video game nerd at the time, so it was just us. I remember we used to walk around with this giant camera. It was the size of a football, and we would take it with us into like 7-Eleven, and everywhere we went, we were just always filming, and nobody cared. Like the cashiers would be like, "Oh, are you making a movie? Hi!" Like today, they'd be like, "What are you doing?
Yeah, get the fuck
out of here! Like, you can't film in here."
That's so interesting to hear that they were like receptive to that kind of thing back in the day, especially in like the early 2000s. But
yeah, before YouTube, nobody had any concept of that these videos would go public or that they would be seen. You know, they're like, "Oh, just for your home movies."
Oh, that's an interesting point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, YouTube was like, what, 2005, 2006?
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't blow up for another year or two after. So people just thought, yeah, just making some home movies, just some memories, right?
I would be more weirded out if I worked at 7-Eleven and somebody started filming me. Like, yeah, this is just for my home movies. What are you going to do with this shit?
It is going right next to my human skin collection.
Yeah, like, you scoping me out? You going to kill me later?
So on the converse, I would love to ask like what kind of got you started in wrestling to begin with?
Absolutely. I mean, I imagine like a lot of people you could ask, it goes back to as long as I can remember. I've been a wrestling fan since, let's say, kindergarten. Let's say the actual start was me and my friend Steven. Yeah, we were in kindergarten together, you know, parents setting up play dates. I go over his house. He was a big wrestling fan. I'd never watched it before. And after the first episode I saw, I was hooked. He was a big Mick Foley guy, and I was just based off his character and his wrestling. I didn't even realize he was also a Long Island guy, which just was the cherry on top. And ever since then, man, that's been all I ever really thought about. And you know, you start with the American products back in the day, WWF, WCW, and it didn't take long for me to try to branch out and try to find worldwide wrestling to see. It's so interesting because it's just like any other parts of culture, like music or theater or any sort of performance. It's so different depending on where it's from. The roots may be the same. American, I believe, that's the country of origin for pro wrestling through the carnivals and everything. It eventually became a spectator sport. But as it spread out through the whole world, basically, it just branched off. And Japan, the style is so radically different than the Canadian style, and the Mexican style is just so completely different in lucha. And then you have the British style, and even in places like Africa and China and Egypt, pro wrestling is going to be so different. And I just dove into it and tried to watch as much stuff as I could. And I know it sounds like, you know, of course I work for New Japan, but this was always the dream. Not just saying it because I'm here now, but I just fell in love with the Japanese style the most. And I'm super happy I have the opportunity to train here, of all places specifically, not just with New Japan, but here in the LA Dojo under Katsuyori Shibata, arguably one of the greatest to do it in the Japanese style. And yeah, man, just my whole life, it's what I've always wanted to do. And I just feel so incredibly lucky that I have an opportunity to do it, not just to do it at the level I'm doing it, but to actually do it for a living. That's the dream. Man, I don't plan on slowing down or stopping. I'm taking this all the way to the top.
That's awesome.
That was awesome, yeah.
Do you remember when or what first turned you on to the Japanese style of wrestling when you first discovered it, and what in your mind set it apart so that for you it was, you know, that's the style that I want to go to?
Of course, yeah. I'd say the first taste I got of the Japanese style was the early to mid 90s All Japan Kings Road style, which I think might have been a lot of people's first glimpse into the Japanese style of wrestling. I think it was specifically one of Kenta Kobashi and Mitsuharu Misawa's matches. And I saw a clip. I think it was just a highlight video. I think it was their 2003 match, maybe in Noah, or one of the early ones in All Japan that I saw. But man, it's like these beefy-ass Japanese dudes are just dropping each other on their heads and just smacking each other in the face with their elbows. It's fucking tight. Why don't we do this over here? I want to watch so much more of this. And ever since then, and you see all those guys back then, if they like Toshiaki Kawada, and even all the people that are still wrestling now. Like I've had the chance to work with legends, actual legends like Satoshi Kojima, Yuji Nagata, and all these people. Like my first tour in Japan, I spent a lot of time with Nakanishi-san and Tenzin-san and Makabe-san and Hanma-san, and they're all so giving and smart. And every time you step in the ring, even if it's just a 6 or 8 man tag, 4v4 and you're only in there for a minute or two, you learn something important every time you're in there. And so valuable to speak to. I've been doing it for so long, and the people that I watched growing up that actually inspired me. And it's just an incredible feeling. And to this day, every single time I'm in there, whether it's somebody like Nagata-san or Kojima-san, or even just my buddies that I live with or train with, like TKC, Jet, Narita, or my close friends, the LA Dojo OGs, and Carl and Clark, you learn something. But yeah, I guess that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, Japanese wrestling is pretty cool, man.
Yeah. So when you discovered that stuff around 2003, how old were you at that time?
Oh man, born in '93, so I was about 9 or 10. I don't even remember how I saw the clip. Some grainy ass AOL, someone sent it to me on AIM or something. Just saw some clips. I think it was the Burning Hammer specifically. It's a torture rack position, guy's face up, laid across the shoulder.
Yeah.
And you just dump the guy to the side on his head.
9 or 10, that's like pretty young to be getting into
down with all
like
Japan.
Yeah, worldwide wrestling promotions. Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
I was going to ask, were you alone in this? Was it you and a group of friends, or was this kind of like your secret pastime? Watching these matches?
I don't want to say it was super secret. I'd be vocal about it.
Yeah.
But I was the dork that'd be like, "Oh yeah, Raw was tight. Undertaker, yeah." But did you guys see Hanma? He did a diving headbutt off the top rope, and people would be like, "Hey, cool, but here, I brought Sako in. I made a Sako at home." I was just spinning my wheels, talking to nobody in particular. That was kind of just my own thing for a little while, but I eventually found some people who were dorky about wrestling as I was. I could share my love with, and it was hard to find, but I'm glad I found my buddies that also appreciate the Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Japanese promotions have skyrocketed in popularity over the last like 10, 20 years.
It's just the genesis of the internet and ease of access that really helped.
Absolutely. So at that time, at that young age, were you set like, I'm going to be a wrestler? This is what I want to do? Or was it more of a dream? Was it, something that you'd like to do, but you didn't really know how to get into it? Because I imagine when you're that young, high schools, they don't, I don't know. Like, how do you get into wrestling at that age?
There's like mat wrestling, but it's hard to kind of seek out pro wrestling.
Yeah, it was probably exactly what you said, where it was my dream, but like, how do you do it? I remember talking to my dad. I was like, "Yeah, I want to be a wrestler." He's like, "Oh, you can join the wrestling team in high school." And I was like, "Can I have a signature move? Can I do a choke slam?" And he was like, "I don't think so." And I was like, then fuck that. I'm not doing that. Is cursing okay? I don't want to.
Yeah. Say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. And I was like, fuck that. If I can't grab people by the throat and slam them down, then why would I do it? I don't care. So I just didn't wrestle in middle school or high school. And then eventually I was able to do my own research to find out how you start. And everybody has different paths. Some of the most notable wrestlers that are doing it today, they start just by wrestling on the trampolines in the backyard. But I waited until I was old enough to A4, first of all, and be able to travel on my own accord to a wrestling school. And I did my own research, and I found a school, NYWC. It's in Deer Park, Long Island, which was 10 minutes from where I grew up. Again, super lucky. And I started there when I was about 21. And I trained there for about 4 or 5 months. And I had my first match. And then I had a shoulder injury. And it took me out for a while. And then life got in the way. I got a job. I was too busy. I always had wrestling on the mind, but in December 2017, I finally had the time and the money to go back. So I trained there for another few months, and then I heard about the LA Dojo system. I've been a fan of New Japan as long as I've been a fan of Japanese wrestling, and I found out on their website they announced that they're opening the school in Carson, California, and that they were going to hold training camps, 5-day blocks broken up into weeks. 30 people per camp. And I was like, this is where I got to be. It's just a training. They were very, very specific on the website. They said, it's not a tryout. It's just training. Come here and see what New Japan's about in America. And yeah, see what we're about. And I remember me and my one buddy, Jose, we took off of work the nights that the application process went live, because they announced 2 weeks beforehand that they were going to hold the training camps in March. And then I think it might have been like Valentine's Day. It might have been the 14th or 18th at 8 p.m. Yeah, the website was live. And we kept refreshing the page, 8 p.m., 7:59, 8 p.m. until we can actually hit the application. But we had it all filled out and ready. We were the first people to do it. And then they said, if you don't hear back from us within 5 business days, then you didn't get picked. And 3 weeks later, both got the emails saying, hey, you're good to go. You're coming to the second week of camps. Fly out here, take care of the hotel. You got to send us all your insurance information. They're very thorough, making sure everybody's got everything that they need beforehand, make sure everybody's safe. And we did, and the rest is history, man. Turns out they kind of were scouting people. So after the last day of our round of camp, they pulled me into the back room. We were all in the main area. It's just one giant room, the dojo, with the wrestling ring and some weights. So all the 30 trainees at the camp were just sitting in chairs all around the perimeter of the room. And Katsuyori Shibata and Scorpio Sky actually doing it in AEW right now, that he helped run all those camps. Scorpio Sky came up to me at the end of the last day and said, hey, messed up some information on your insurance form. So you have to go into the back room and take care of it just for the books, just so the Japanese office doesn't get in trouble with anything. And I was like, I mean, I didn't fuck anything up. I made sure of that, but whatever you say, man, I'll go back there. And they were like, I'm gonna bring you back. Don't tell anybody. But in a couple months, I'm back. It's like, oh fuck, cool, sick. Oh my god. So, and yeah, ever since then we've been rocking and rolling, training out here exclusively, putting in the work every day, and yeah, that's how I got into it.
That's awesome.
So, after the 5 days passed, before that 3 week mark, were you just thinking like, that's it, it's over,
I was so bummed, man. Just going into work. I worked at a gym. I was a personal trainer for a while over at the World Gym, and just didn't talk to anybody. I was like, fuck, man. I didn't get picked for New Japan.
Yeah.
But why am I even here?
Dang.
But wait, man, so when I did.
So then you did get accepted, and I guess you were just going to this training camp. Did you tell your work, like, I'll be back in a few weeks, I'm just going to this camp? Or was it like, hey, this is my opportunity, I'm gone?
Yeah, I mean, I gave them a heads up, and they were like, yeah, cool, go. I wasn't an essential cog in the wheel there, so it wasn't a big deal if I wasn't there for a week or so.
Oh.
Man, it was fun, because I never really traveled much before that. I mean, from the East Coast, never really went westward. So me and my buddy, we made a bit of a trip out of it. We went there a couple days early, and they actually had a show the day before our camp started. It was a day or two. I can't remember if it was the Saturday or the Sunday, because the camp was Monday through Friday. But it was at the Walter Pyramid in Long Beach. I think it was Strong Style Evolved. And we were able to get last-minute tickets, and we watched it. And then almost 6 months later, to the day after I saw that show, I had my debut in the same arena under New Japan with Clark.
That's awesome.
And it was just a cool, quick, full circle kind of thing. And I hope I have a lot more of those. It was just an incredible feeling.
That's really fast. It seems like, once you got into this, the wheels just started turning on this thing. Did you ever expect for things to move as quickly as they did?
Absolutely not. But man, in that situation, I guess pressure turns coal into diamonds, man. Just have to take it head on, take it day by day, and just keep going. And we did, and it fucking worked. And I was ready, and we had a match, and just haven't stopped since then.
That's so radical.
You said you were originally trained in New York. Was it like a smooth transition to like go from like that training to like Shibata's style of wrestling?
It was not smooth at all. It's so radically different from anything I've ever done. And NYWC is a great training school. when I was there, you would practice Tuesday and Thursday, and then they had Sundays, which was an extra day. If you want to come in, just work on whatever you wanted. It wouldn't be structured like work out and do your squats and stretching beforehand, and then you run through the basics, and then there's advanced class after. The workouts were good. The training was good. But in New Japan, there's no days off. You're doing 500 squats, 300 push-ups. God knows how long you're doing planks for, hundreds of sit-ups every day just to make sure you're in ring shape. And it's just different. And that's not a knock on any school around here, but there's no school in America. There's no school in the world except for maybe the Japanese dojo, the Noge dojo in New Japan, that trains like we do. And there's a reason why we're here. And we can take that. We can handle it. Not just anybody can do it. We got scouted out of hundreds of people, all of us that are here, hundreds from all over the world. When we were first here, we took that first training camp. Me and my friend were from New York. We were from all the way across the country. We were like, yeah, we travel here the furthest. We want this the most. And when we all go out, we're going to find some buddies. We're going to link up with some of the guys there. We get to pick where we get to go to eat because we're the biggest tourists. We're East Coast versus West Coast. But there were people from Germany, China, Australia, all coming through, all wanting to get an opportunity just to train for New Japan because nobody knew it was a tryout, kind of a kayfabe tryout. Yeah. But yeah, so we were bummed that we hung out with a bunch of people that just took us to Chili's and Chipotle and Buffalo Wild Wings and Five Guys because they don't have it in Australia or Germany or anywhere else. So that part kind of sucked, but it was fun hanging out with them. That I was in California, didn't get any street tacos or cool Japanese fusion food. I just ate at all the places that are 10 minutes from my house in Long Island. But I made up for it eventually. Yeah.
I would love to know what just a day in the life at the LA dojo is like, if you could kind of talk about that.
Of course. Yeah. Well, we get up usually around 8:30, do a little bit of cleaning around the house, just whatever needs to be, wipe down the kitchen, sweep up some floors. Eat your breakfast, hopefully nothing too big because you're going to throw it up if you do. We had the training about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Do about 45 minutes of warm-up, running around, doing our dynamic warm-ups and stretching. When we start off, we just hit the ground running. When we were first over here, it was a lot of amateur work, a lot of wrestling, which I didn't have a lot of experience. I had zero experience doing that before. But we would just kill each other for 2 or 3 hours, and then we would do more the pro wrestling kind of training where we'd work on, slamming each other, running the ropes, all the basics for another 2 hours or so. And then after, we'd work out. We have weights at the dojo. So we'd do another 2 hours or so of lifting. And we'd go home and we'd make chanko nabe, very Japanese traditional style stew, which takes another hour or two to make. So it's a full ass day by the time we're done with dinner, which is just enough time to shower, unwind for an hour, and sleep and do it again. It's hardcore, but god damn it, man, if I don't love it, I had a taste for chanko. But that spicy kimchi pork.
That sounds extremely regimental. The bar is set very high.
Yeah, that's the Japanese style, man. It's in their culture. It's in their blood. And if they accept me into their culture, I'm going to dive head first into it and do it to the best of my ability. There was an adjusting period for sure. Wasn't used to that. But now, yeah, now I'm in the groove. I got the hang of it.
Yeah. What was there a mental switch that got flipped along the way where it was you go from I don't know if I can do this to I have a handle on this? Or
there was never a period where I thought, man, this might be too much for me. I knew, man, this is it for me. I'm just gonna fucking do it. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm sweating. I'm bleeding. You can barely get out of bed because you're odds. Those first couple weeks doing. One time we did 3,000 squats in just one go, not broken up into sets or anything. Just it was 2 hours or so, just squatting. And after we counted out loud, because you count everything every time you do reps, any sort of workout, count. And if you're not the one counting, you're the one responding at the top of your lungs. 1, high, 2, high. So your voice is always fucking scratchy from screaming. And your legs are fucking dead from doing thousands of squats. So the first couple of weeks were tough, but your body adjusts. there's a lot of nutrients in that Chanko. There's a reason they eat it. A lot of protein, a lot of carbs, a lot of good veggies, vitamins, and nutrients, all that jazz. So just find the groove, you push through. And there have been people that have come through here. They thought they could make it, but they had to bow out, and respect to them. They understand the limits of their body, but it's not for everybody. That's why we're here, and other people aren't.
Definitely. Did you play any sports growing up? Were you an athletic kid?
I did a handful of things. Mostly soccer was my main sport. That was the first one I did and the one that I played for longest. I played a little bit of rugby. I played some baseball, but not super into sports. Didn't watch a lot of them. We went to a lot of baseball games growing up. I was always a Mets fan. And like every Mets fan, I didn't choose to follow the Mets. My parents just brought me to Mets games, so I just assumed that was the team that I had to like. So we did that, and that was always fun. But I stopped soccer around 13 or 14, and then I just really went into weightlifting and a little bit of rugby in college after that. Yeah, not a lot of sports.
Where did
Mark and Carl, when we first moved in, they were always they were the football guys. They'd always talk about that. They played football their whole lives, and I never had any idea what the fuck they were talking about. So that was fun.
I was going to ask, where did you go to college?
I spent 1 year at SUNY New Paltz, and then came back because I didn't have a major and realized that I was wasting money going away to school and not having a major yet. So I went back to Suffolk for another year, finished 2 years. And that's basically when I started wrestling. And I devoted a lot of time to that. And then that whole story from before, it all connects just backwards.
Nice. You mentioned you started training when you were 21, and then you suffered a shoulder injury. You took a couple of years off. What were those years like, and what made you feel like I got to get back into wrestling? What was the thing that kind of spurred you to go back into training?
Well, the original injury, I had a torn labrum in my right shoulder. It was just a freak thing that happened. It took a while to heal. I felt really weird showing up to work in an arm sling, trying to put weights away and train people, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And it got busier and busier. And the thing that really put a fire in my ass was seeing my friends that I did train with actually start to do things, get booked at bigger places, work with bigger names. I was like, fuck, why am I not doing that? Why? I was like, I'm making money here. It's smart. I should save. What should I do? And it was a big point of contention. I was on the fence. What should I do? What should I do? And eventually I was like, nah, man, I got to wrestle. Fuck everything else. So I did. And the timing was just perfect when I went there. And with New Japan specifically, I think it was very helpful for me that I didn't have all those years of training under my belt. They were looking for people they could mold, people with a little bit of experience. Because when I went to the camp, cumulatively, I only had about 6 months of wrestling under my belt, which is why I don't like saying that I started when I did, which was technically 2015, because I don't have 6 years of wrestling experience, closer to now 4. And I had that fire just seeing people pass me in my own dream. And I was like, oh, fuck those guys. I dream, I'm going to do it. And it just worked out. Thank God.
Do you remember the last match you saw before you were like, I'm going back into training? I can't not be doing this any longer.
There were a handful. I think it was an NYWC show. At that point, it was kind of like a thing where I stopped wrestling there. So I was kind of embarrassed to go back. Like, because you see it's a rotating door a lot. Like you're training and then you see this one guy come in, who hasn't been there for a while. And you're like, oh, this guy's back. Oh, he's going to come. He's going to leave again. Here's his 1 day of training for a year and he's not going to show up. I didn't want to be that guy. So I knew I didn't want to come back in until I was 100% sure. So I went back in and I saw my friend. When I first started training, he wound up being my tag team partner when I came back to NYWC in 2018. He's Mike Mistretta. Nobody's better. When we first started training, he's a few years younger than me. He was like a 17, 18-year-old kid, super skinny, super quiet, shy, and reserved. And I remember the moment that stuck out with me before I got injured and stopped. We were doing chop class, which everybody who's trained wrestling knows that ain't fun.
For people who don't know, can you describe what chop class is?
Okay. So in pro wrestling, Ric Flair, anybody else. Chop, basically, one person stands there, chest open, one person comes across, all their might smacks you in the fucking chest. Ooh, that whole thing. And it hurts. It hurts. There's no two ways about it. You're just smacking somebody full force in the chest. Open, you bleed, you have handprints. And the class itself is everybody who's there. One person goes at a time, one person stands either in the middle of the ring or in the corner. So with the rope, chest out, everybody gets a shot. They all line up, they go once or twice. How else can you practice chops? It sucks, you gotta do it, but that's how you learn. And it was Mike's turn, little Mike. He was in there, and people have gone before him. They chopped, ow, fuck. People had powder, they were getting out of there. You need to take a second sip of water. He didn't crack once. Wow. This 140-pound kid chopped some 300-pounders, some kids. I was like, I'm going to make him fucking scream. I went as hard as I could. Didn't make a sound. I was like, this fucking kid's tough. Seeing him leaving wrestling myself and then watching him turn into what he has, one of the best heels that they have there now. He's an incredible wrestler. Just his fire, just how loud he's got, just how comfortable he's got. He's coming to his own. I was like, why can't I should do this. If he can do that, if he gets that fucking good, I'm going to be even better. So I came back and we wound up actually tagging together. And I had the opportunity with New Japan. And he basically inspired me to come back into it. And I'm thankful for that. Thank you, Mike.
That's so awesome. I always feel like you need a little bit of healthy competition to kind of motivate you, set a fire.
That's LA Dojo, man. That's what it's all about. We're always competing with each other. That's how we push each other.
So you've wrestled in America and you've gone over and wrestled in Japan as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, only twice. The first time was over the summer of 2019 for the Young Lions Cup. It was the Destruction Tour leading up to a big pay-per-view, the Destruction pay-per-view. But for weeks, we would have a round-robin style tournament between 8 of the Young Lions, 4 from the Japanese dojo, the 3 from the LA dojo, and the 1 from the Fale dojo in New Zealand. And out of the 7 matches that I had a pretty good record. I won 4, lost 3, which is not too fucking shabby if I say so myself. Very happy with that. And the second time was actually January of 2020. I haven't been there since. We were only there for 1 week. It was for Wrestle Kingdom 14. And then we wrestled New Year's Dash, which was 6 days later. But it was an incredible experience being over there for Wrestle Kingdom. That's their biggest show. That's their Super Bowl. We were in the pre-show match. It was an 8-man tag. It was the LA Dojo and Toa Hanare, who is now in the United Empire. He's now, I don't know what happened to him. He's a fucking asshole. But the other 4 people were Tomoaki Hama-san, Togi Makabe, Kabe-san, and 2 of the Japanese Young Lions in Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji. And Uemura's now in the LA Dojo. He's sleeping 2 rooms over. And it's just a crazy full circle thing that we had a chance to work in the Tokyo Dome in front of all those people, biggest show of the company, just as a young lion. And,
were you nervous at all, like going to the Tokyo Dome?
Yeah, man, a little bit. But man, it's a thing where you're backstage, you have the nerves. Once you walk out there and the people see you, fucking switch flips every time, and then you just don't worry about it. You're just focused. And that's just how wrestling is. You're nervous until it's time to turn it on, and then it's on. It's go time, baby. There's not a care in the world. You're just trying to kill the other people.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how a lot of sports and, performances, anything with an audience or spectators there, you're nervous when you're not doing anything and they're waiting for you. But then when it's time to go, you just get into your own head, right?
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I had a little bit of experience, I guess you'd say, performing all throughout high school. I was in a bunch of garage bands. I played drums. And, everybody wants to be a fucking singer or guitar player, so drummers are in high demand. I was in a bunch of bands, a bunch of rock, metal. I was in a ska band. Ooh. And we just played a bunch of random shows all over the place. And
Yeah.
It was like the same feeling. Like, I'm nervous. All these people are going to watch me play, but then you're out there and you just fucking crush it and you don't worry about it and you're just in the zone. And wrestling is just so similar. And yeah, I'm glad I got to carry something over from my working off high school days, not doing anything, to what I'm doing now.
Did you ever consider pursuing music full time?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I love it. I still want to play it. That's probably, I don't want to say a regret, but I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
I couldn't bring my drums to LA. I haven't played since I moved out here, but I still consider myself a drummer, and I can't wait till I get the opportunity to play again. I'd love to record something or just play, or even just have my own kit again and just stick around, man. I'd love to have a setup and just post up some drum covers of songs that I like and then just take it from there. But hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to do something like that. But I gotta get a drum kit first. And that's a whole thing. But yeah, it's definitely on the back burner. It's definitely something I want to go back to.
I heard you're a big Slayer fan.
Huge, man. I love Slayer. And
is that the kind of music you would play? Were you into like thrash metal and stuff like that? You said you did a little bit of everything, but what'd you prefer?
Yeah, that's the reason. Angel of Death, their song off Rain and Blood, is literally the reason I picked up a pair of drumsticks. Growing up, I had 2 younger brothers and an older sister. And one year for Christmas, we were all very young. My brother was bouncing all over the place. He was super hyperactive, very high energy. My parents bought a drum kit, and they didn't give it for anybody in particular. On Christmas morning, like, oh, here's a drum kit. Oh, maybe you can spend some of your energy on the drums for 30 minutes and then just go to sleep and shut the fuck up for the rest of the night. And that was the original plan, but he never touched it. And I remember watching Viva La Bam a lot, as all my friends did back in the day. And they had the episode. It's funny, you have the pirate theme set up there for your studio.
Oh, yeah.
There was the episode of Viva La Bam where he built the pirate bar in his house because he fucking felt like it, and was like, I want Slayer to play at my pirate bar. And he just fucking got Slayer to play at his pirate bar. And there was a point where he was like, yeah, this is Slayer. If you don't know who they are, you're a fucking idiot. Watch them play. I was like, I don't want to be a fucking idiot. I want to know who Slayer is. So I went on LimeWire and downloaded whatever the first few Slayer songs were. And Angel of Death was there. That was the first song. And that song starts off just fucking hard and heavy. There's that riff.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave Lombardo goes right into those fucking, that quick 200 BPM double bass, hard and heavy right out of the gate. And I was like, oh, I want to see if I could do that. And I didn't even know he was doing that with his feet. I took the sticks and I listened to the song and I tried to play along on the floor tom with the double bass. And I was like, I can't do this. This is really hard. So I wanted to be able to do it. So that's the reason I started playing drums. And yeah, it was thrash metal. I eventually got into more of the heavier stuff, like death metal, so much fun to play, black and death metal, Behemoth, Nile, Cryptopsy, Belphegor, things like that. They can't go wrong with the classic thrash. It's just so much more fun. Stuff like Slayer, Anthrax, Morbid Angel, all those guys. Just anything that's fun. Like I said before, I was in the ska band. All my buddies were super into it, and they were like, do we need a drummer? Can you fucking do it? Just don't complain and just do it. Fine. And then I eventually grew on me, man. And bands like Catch-22, Streetlight Manifesto, anything Tom Kalinowski does, really.
Yeah.
Real Big Fish. I still have them on my rotation every now and then. It's always fun to go back to. But man, just like wrestling, comes in all different shapes and sizes, depending on where it's from, and it can be just as cool.
Yeah. I didn't think we were going to talk about Streetlight Manifesto. I'm from New Jersey, so they're like a huge band for me. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man, they're a big East Coast band. I saw them out in LA, actually. They're one of the few shows I've been to since I moved out to LA, and it was tight. It was so much fun being there.
Can I ask what the name of your ska band was?
It was OBS, O.B.S. And we had a bunch of different acronyms, what it stood for, but the first one was Our Bassist Sucks. Oh. And it was just a rib on Vinny, who played bass, because we always joked that he sucked, and he didn't suck, but I was a good sport about it.
Well, he had the whole band named after him, so I guess.
Yes, he wasn't complaining.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I suck. This is my band. 1, 2, 3. Then we go into fucking whatever. Everything went numb. Just a lot of Streetlight covers.
Do you find that there is a difference wrestling in America versus wrestling in Japan as far as the audience?
Yes, absolutely. The American crowd, in TV shows, it's always depicted like the super rowdy, like, yeah, kill them, throwing popcorn, stuff like that. It can be very similar to that, but just toned down just a little bit. But very rowdy, but in a great way. I love the energy. I love the excitement when people get into it and they're yelling, fuck you, kill him, this and that, take his head off. That means they're into it. I love it. But in Japan, treated with, I guess you'd say, with more politeness, with more respect. Yeah. There's a lot more clapping than there is cheering. I mean, pandemic aside, they have to do in Japan. Even before all that, you go back and watch any Japanese match. They appreciate different things, and the things they do appreciate, they appreciate even more differently. But at the end of the day, it's similar, but they appreciate the sportsmanship, they appreciate the execution, and of course, they appreciate the storytelling and the emotion, the intensity, which they also do in America, but just a varying degree, I guess you'd say. But I love both. I really do.
I always loved that, like, when Bullet Club got really big, that was, like, unheard of in Japan to have, like, people cheating or, like, showing up to the ring, like, with chairs and stuff. I always thought that was really interesting that they kind of, like, brought, like, an American style in.
Well, in Japan, it's practically, it's one of their national sports, professional wrestling. You get treated with respect. You follow the rules. If an MMA fighter walked out and he had a steel chair and a chain, people would be like, what the fuck? Can he do that? So it's the same idea with pro wrestling. Can that guy just bring a giant glove thing made of metal? Can he do that? No, I didn't think so. But yeah, I love bringing the American aspects to the Japanese audience, and the converse even more so. I love presenting the Japanese style to an American audience, and it's just always fun to play with the expectations and the different crowds and seeing what they're into and showing them what we're about.
You've like you said before, you wrestled people like Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima. Also you wrestled like Lance Archer and stuff. Is there anyone like the New Japan roster who you haven't wrestled yet that you like really, really want to wrestle?
So many. Especially now, it's hard being so separated from. It almost feels like two different divisions in the same company, the American side and the Japanese side. I haven't been to Japan since January of 2020, and there are so many incredibly talented people, asses I just want to fucking kick so bad, that are just stuck there in Japan, and I don't have the opportunity yet. And I have Carl, the man that I fought at Resurgence that you saw. He's fighting Will Ospreay in Dallas. That's a big opportunity. He's a man I'd love to see just get kicked out of, just for the things he said, the things he's done. And I'm sad that I don't get the chance to do it first, but I'm happy that if it's anyone else, that it's Carl. But Ospreay's a big one for me. And of course, I'd love to lock horns. All the legends over there. Tanahashi-san, who's come to America a couple times since, so he's a realistic possibility. Anybody in the Bullet Club, anybody anywhere. Honestly, specific names, no. Everybody, yes, bring them on. I do the Alex Coughlin Open Challenge Match Series. I don't pick my opponents. I usually don't know who's coming through that door until a day or two beforehand. Sometimes not even until the curtain's called. And I'm not picky. I'm just here to wrestle. I don't really mind who, just as long as they bring the fight.
Hell yeah. Well, now I'm going to change gears because I'm going to get back to the fact that you like Mega 64 at some point. Yeah, we need to keep talking about it.
Let's go. All right.
About it. And I'm assuming that means that you play video games or have, or at least at some point had a nerdy side to your personality.
Still do. Never stop.
Is that prevalent in the wrestling community? Are there a lot of wrestlers that have video game background, comic book background, nerdy background, or are you kind of in the minority with that?
Shocking amount. There are so many. I was so surprised. Because we've done, not just in the New Japan locker room, I've done tours with Ring of Honor and been to a handful of other promotions locker room. And everywhere, wrestlers just fucking love Mortal Kombat. It doesn't matter if they love video games, they just all do. So it's easy for me to talk about. Mortal Kombat's my shit. Like, my earliest memories as a human being are my dad handing me an unplugged Super Nintendo controller, and he sits behind me playing through Mortal Kombat 3 as Kung Lao, destroying Shao Kahn, and I think I'm the fucking man when I'm just fucking spitting on the controller thinking I'm playing. I love Mortal Kombat, and it's cool seeing so many people share love for video games and things that I grew up in, things that I might have shied away from talking about before, because in wrestling, you're like, I don't want this person to think I'm a dork or think I'm a nerd.
Right.
To not having to worry about that. Fucking everybody loves it. And some people are like, I don't really play too much, but you're like, oh, you never played anything? You're like, oh, growing up, I played Mario a little bit of Mario Kart. And you're like, there you go. There's some common ground. Everybody's played something. I'm not worried about it anymore. But yeah, video games are tight, man.
That's cool. I was talking before this interview, and it just must be a generational thing, because who amongst our age like didn't grow up with video games?
Yeah, that's true.
For sure. Yeah, you hear stories of the old guard, and then people want to emulate the old guard because they didn't really have video games back then. And the people that are still around are like, what the fuck are you kids doing? Back in my day, we played video games. But yeah, people don't really do that. I thought that's for sure what it'd be like. Kind of poo-pooed or frowned upon. But yeah, like you're saying, it's totally a generational thing. And I think coming up, that's not going to be really an issue or something that people ever have to worry about, being afraid to be like, yeah, I was a fucking dork, man. I just the definition of the word. I'm still pretty tight, but I also play video games. I think that's nerdy, but
yeah,
I have encyclopedic knowledge of Mortal Kombat lore, the most useless fucking thing a human being can take up space in their brain with. But man, I love that shit.
What did you think of the Mortal Kombat movie? Did you see it?
The new one?
Yeah.
Fuck that movie. I can't believe I had to wait 21 years, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, to get 24 years, excuse me, 97 to 2021. And that's the movie that we got. And no offense if you enjoyed it. Hey man, flavors ice cream. You like it, you enjoy it. I fucking hate that movie.
I'm glad. Around the office, everyone here was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And me and Derek were like, do we watch the same movie?
I like the original Mortal Kombat movie better than this one.
Original Mortal Kombat's awesome, man. I even like Annihilation just for like, oh, sick, that's Motaro. I like Motaro. Oh, sick, Jax has metal arms. Oh, Cyrax is here, tight. Love that shit. If not for anything else, then I love seeing my characters on the screen. And in the newest one, there was less of that. And I like how the opening scene, the first 7 minutes, the backstory of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, that was awesome. And I like how they gave that away for free on YouTube a month beforehand. Like, oh, if you like the first 7 minutes, you're going to like the rest of the movie. They just gave away the best part for free, hoping people would buy tickets. I just wish it was more of that, but it wasn't. Yeah, I'm not going to try to be too negative. But fuck that movie.
Nice. Yeah, that old bait and switch. You know, here's one badass fight. The rest of the movie is not going to be like this, but you don't know that until you already bought the ticket.
Would never team up with Kano. Not in a million fucking years. Not my Sonya, man.
You're proving your street cred as a true Mortal Kombat fan.
Oh, for sure, man. I could talk another. How much time you got? I can go on.
We can go on. If they ever asked you to be in a Mortal Kombat movie, are you there?
I'm there no matter what. I don't care what role, man. Whatever they want me to do. They want me to be just a disembodied head on a spike in the pit. That's cool with me, man. They want me to be a character? Better. But that's the thing in wrestling. Everybody wants to be fucking Johnny Cage. So I'd go for any role besides Johnny Cage.
Okay. All right. Yeah, what's up with Johnny Cage? I guess because he's like the Hollywood.
Yeah, he's like the bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great character. I love Johnny Cage, but no one else can do Johnny Cage besides The Miz at this point. He's just the guy. Anybody, and a lot of people are trying to be the Johnny Cage in wrestling. They're just wasting their time.
Yeah. Do you think there is any room in the future for a metalhead wrestler, somebody who is a drummer that idolizes Slayer.
Ooh, well, if there isn't room, I'm gonna fucking make some room. Watch it.
I could see you coming out doing like a drum solo, you know?
Yeah, just like a big Tommy Lee cage setup where I'm just rolled out to the ring in this giant contraption where I'm upside down, just fucking slamming cymbals and some cool ass crossovers. I don't even have an entrance theme. I'm just playing a drum solo every time I come out. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd actually be fucking
expensive,
incredible.
but cool.
Flying out with the drum solo upside down, then you drop into the ring and beat some ass.
Exactly. And I'll think about that exact idea. Thank you.
I did definitely want to talk about New Japan Strong a little bit. You're featured weekly on New Japan's like new TV program on Access TV. Has like your life changed at all, like being featured on TV weekly?
Not really.
Oh wow.
It's cool. I mean, I get some weird DMs on Instagram more often than before. But besides that, I mean, people not really approach me in real life, but online people will reach out and be like, hey man, watching your work and you've been improving, or I love what you're doing, or hey man, fucking suplex is cool. And I always think that's cool, but just a little bit more of that. But man, now that we have the crowds coming back, we're doing shows, I expect that to grow exponentially, which I'm super looking forward to. I like when people telling me that I'm cool. Feel free to DM me that. Might not respond, but I'll read it.
Always read it. Yeah, so you've been doing this for a few years. You've been having a lot of success. We just saw that you had a write-up in Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
Recently. How did that come about? Did they interview you for that, or did they just write that about you?
They approached me. They asked me, hey, we want to do a feature on you. Here's some questions. If you want to do it, great. Just send us back a week or so, the questionnaire. And yeah, just a couple emails back and forth. And I thought it was really cool that WI, of all people, reached out to me to do a feature. That's cool to know that like people actually have eyes on me. It's a great feeling. It's so cool. And yeah, of course I bought the magazine. It's a whole page too. It's got a picture and it's just a whole page spread. It was that's one of those times where you stop and smell the roses. Like you're always in go mode. You're always focusing. You're always training. Like, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? What's next for me?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta take a step back and be like, man, it's pretty fucking cool. That was definitely one of those times.
That's the kind of thing you like frame, hang up on the wall.
I have it in my closet. I ain't getting rid of it.
Hell yeah.
Once I get my own wall to hang stuff up on, then going up there for sure.
That's so awesome. So yeah, I mean, it seems like everything is rocking and rolling for you. Things are on the up and up. Now that, things are weird, obviously. The pandemic kind of shut everything down and then stuff opened up, but now we're not sure if it's like what the deal is. So what kind of is on your horizons coming up? Do you have beyond the Dallas show any long-term goals or commitments, or is this just day by day we see what happens?
Like you're saying, you can never truly know what's coming tomorrow. It's never promised, especially now in this era with the pandemic. Like you're saying, things opened up and then things shut back down. It's not just cut and dry. It's not we're slowly getting better. Things ebb and they flow. They go up and they go down. So you never really know. We have tentative plans. We have things scheduled for Philadelphia. We're going to be doing an East Coast set of tapings too. That's going to be coming up in October. And maybe some beyond I've heard rumblings about, but that's all case by case. But whatever the situation is, I'm going to be wrestling somewhere, whether it's in front of people or we have to go back to taping. I'm going to be fucking wrestling. That's what I'm focusing on mainly, making sure that I'm getting better as a wrestler. No matter where I am, it's worth watching. I hope, I really do that and continue to do the shows in front of live people, because Resurgence was such a success. It was awesome being there in front of people again. And the feedback from the show was also incredible. And I just hope we can ride that momentum, keep it going. But if we can't, at the end of the world, we came back with the Strong tapings, do it again. Enjoy Strong. People watch it. So that's always a good fallback. But I hope we can move forward.
That's great. Well, I think that's all the questions I had, really.
I'm unbelievably inspired right now. I'm going to go do 5,000 squats, I think, after this interview.
Hell
I'm going
yeah.
to try.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Epsom salt bath after. It helps.
We appreciate talking to you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I think we want to officially say, if you're a Mega 64 fan, of which there are a lot out there, then Alex Coughlin is the wrestler representing us. The Mortal Kombat knowledge, the Viva La Bam fandom. That's a big crossover with Mega 64. So
the Venn diagram, it's almost a perfect circle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to get everybody behind you officially. We're gonna make you our guy.
That. Hell, I mean, it was an awesome feeling for me for you guys to invite me on the podcast. It was tight. I told my friends about it, and they're like, "Oh, that's so fucking cool." They're excited to hear about it, so I'm going to talk to them about it too. And thank you guys for having me on. And I look forward to maybe doing something like this again sometime, or maybe if you guys ever need a wrestler for any video projects, I'm not too far.
Hey,
in San Diego,
yeah,
definitely do. Yeah,
you're just a drive up the road from us. Man, we would love to talk again sometime down the road. Just check in with you, see how things are doing. This has been such a treat to have this conversation.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Anytime.
Cool. Well, Alex, we're going to let you go. Is there anything, social media or anything you would like to plug if people want to find you or support you online?
Yeah, I have, the Twitter, Instagram. Twitter is at Alex Coughlin 93, which is the year I was born. Alex Coughlin was taken. And my Instagram is at something deadlift, because I couldn't think of anything better at the time. This was before I was a wrestler, and I just never changed it. If you're interested in following me, go for it. And if not, that's cool too. Just see me pop up every now and then, like you do here. And yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Alex.
Awesome.
Thank you this has been great.
Arigato, my dudes.
Don't do it that hard.
We're back, everybody. Wasn't
fuck.
that an awesome interview? Now that you know what chop school is, no, I don't want to let you give me a chop.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to give you a chop either, because I might hurt you.
I mean, if you do it not just like that one, like that. I've gotten chopped before. It's just scary.
When have you been chopped before?
I was at a party once, and my friend really liked wrestling. And we were just chilling and talking, and I had a couple drinks, and I just fucking chopped him. And he was like, "What the fuck?" And then later in the night, he got me back.
Yeah, I did some color commentary for a local promotion here in San Diego for a few years, for like 5 years, and they put me in a match once.
Yeah.
But luckily, I didn't have to take any bumps. It was kind of a gimmick match.
Yeah.
Do I even describe what happened?
This
wrestling promotion was kind of like wrestling meets the Marvel Extended Universe. It was very sci-fi and comic bookish. And as the commentator, there was a story where I was possessed by an evil space entity, and they gave me like a giant tentacle arm, and they're like, basically the match is you going to be using this tentacle arm as a whip.
Yeah.
To just beat the shit out of this other wrestler. They signed me up for this without, they're like, Derek's going to be in a match. And I was like, what? What? Like, for real? And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I was like, I'm kind of worried about it. Like,
yeah.
What am I doing in this? Like, we'll tell you the day of. And so the day of, they like explained to me. But even that was exhausting. Like, I got gassed.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to take any bumps. And I certainly didn't have to take any chops.
Yeah, the amount of cardio you just need for basic wrestling is kind of insane.
And I definitely didn't do 5,000 squats to warm up.
That blew my mind.
It was a pleasure talking to Alex. He was such a cool guy. And yeah, you know what? He's the Mega 64 Internet Soldier Wrestler, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. No, he's our guy.
Yeah, so check him out. Follow him on social media. Give his TV shows a watch, and maybe he's going to be your favorite wrestler from now on out there. Mega Strangeigans. I need to come up with a better name for our fans.
People liked when you said look up to the skies.
Look up to the skies. Keep watching the skies. I do think that is going to be the end of this week's episode. Thanks again to Alex Coughlin for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
Hey, if you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And be sure to follow the official Mega Strange podcast on Instagram.
Yes.
And do us a favor, like, comment,
and subscribe
to this video. Help us out. And you know what? Pass this video around. If you know anybody who might be interested in hearing what we're talking about today, send them a link, because we can always use the new fans, the new followers, and the new friends. We're going to sign off here, but as promised, I think we're going to do one chop on Johnny. Drum roll, please.
Don't do it too hard. Oh.